In Japan, there's a concept called Yayorozu no Kami, meaning 8 million gods. It's not literal, but a way of saying spirits exist everywhere, in rivers, mountains, trees, rocks, even everyday objects. Step into a quiet shrine or stand beneath ancient forests and you can almost feel them. That's why Japan's mythical creatures never felt like fiction. In our last series, we explored creatures worldwide, but this time we're diving into one place. Tonight, we enter Japan's world of myth to uncover 7 beings long believed to exist. Number 7, Jorōgumo. You know how Spider-Man uses his webs to save people? Now imagine the exact opposite. A spider woman that uses her webs not to protect, but to trap and consume. That's the legend of Jorōgumo, one of Japan's most chilling yokai. The name Jorōgumo originally just meant entangling spider. It first appears as a breathtakingly beautiful woman. Travelers, samurai, or wandering villagers encounter her near waterfalls, forests, or abandoned houses. She smiles, invites them closer, and sometimes even offers tea. But behind the illusion is no ordinary woman. It's a monstrous, shape-shifting spider. In her story, once her victims get comfortable or worse, enchanted by her beauty, she would reveal herself. From her fingers, threads of silk stronger than steel would lash out, binding the victim before they could even scream. Legends say she didn't kill quickly. She wrapped her prey in silk and fed slowly, savoring their terror. One user even imagined what it would be like if a Jorōgumo appeared today, that if she were physical, scientists would no doubt study her, trying to explain how a woman could transform into a half-spider. One of her most famous dwellings is Jorin Falls in Shizuoka Prefecture, long believed to be cursed. Villagers said men who wandered too close vanished, lured into the spray by a beautiful woman never seen again. Even today, a signboard at the falls tells the legend of Jorōgumo, proof of how deeply her story is tied to the land. Number 6, Nure-onna. Imagine walking by a riverbank when you spot a woman drenched, clutching a swaddled baby. She begs you to help, her voice trembling, her arms shaking. Out of compassion, you take the child into your arms, but the weight is wrong. It grows heavier, unbearably heavy, pinning you to the ground. You look up, and the woman's face has already begun to change. Her eyes narrow, her mouth stretches into a serpentine grin, and her body twists and unravels into scales and coils. You haven't met a drowning mother. You've met the Nure-onna. The name Nure-onna literally means wet woman. Folklore describes her as a monstrous creature with the head of a woman and the body of a giant snake. She has long, dripping wet hair, clung to her face, and her yellow eyes gleam with cold hunger. But what makes Nure-onna even more terrifying is her weapon of choice. It's not claws or fangs, it is human empathy. She uses compassion, our instinct to help a mother and child, as bait. And when we reach out, she strikes. Her legend reminds us of a cruel truth that not every cry for help is what it seems. Sometimes mercy itself can become the snare. Number 5, Chōchin obake. If you had ever walked through the streets of Japan at night, you would have seen those warm, inviting, almost comforting red paper lanterns swaying gently outside tea houses. But in Japanese folklore, even something as humble as a lantern can turn against you. Japanese believe that when an object grows old enough, like 100 years or more, it can wake up, grow a soul, and transform. These spirits are called tsukumogami, or tool spirits. And the most famous of them all is the Chōchin obake, or the haunted paper lantern. When angered, the paper lantern was said to split open with a scream, its skin peeled back to reveal a single glaring eye and a long, slimy tongue lashing into the night. Some tales claimed it sprouted wings, and its tongue could coil around arms and faces, leaving a burning, sticky trail, as if the fire it once held had come alive. But you may think, why is Lantern angry? Folklore suggests that neglected objects, especially those tossed aside without care, were believed to grow bitter. The lantern had once lit homes, guided footsteps, and kept away the dark. But when abandoned, it remembered only the ungratefulness of its master. And so it struck out, not to kill, but to frighten, to remind humans of their arrogance in thinking they owned everything, even the tools that served them. Number 4, Zashiki-warashi. Do you think all spirits are bad? If yes, you probably haven't heard of the Zashiki-warashi. Unlike most Japanese spirits that haunt or harm, this one was said to bring good luck, but only for as long as it stayed. The name Zashiki-warashi means parlor child. People described it as a ghostly little boy or girl, usually around 6 years old, with short bobbed hair and an old-style kimono. Families claimed they saw the child sitting in guest rooms, playing with toys, or even laughing when no child was actually there. They claimed to hear light footsteps in empty rooms. At night, futons were said to shake, pillows flipped over, and laughter echoed just enough to keep people awake. When the sliding door was opened, there was no one there. Zashiki-warashi weren't violent, but they were powerful. According to one Quora user, a Zashiki-warashi is believed to be the spirit of children who died young and were buried in their former home. To keep a Zashiki-warashi happy, families often left out toys or sweets, and it was said they especially loved azuki rice. If the offering was eaten, it meant prosperity would remain. But if it was left untouched, it was a dark omen of decline. Number 3. Yuki-onna. Remember how we said Japan's folklore sees nature as alive? Mountains, rivers, forests, all with spirits of their own. Even snow was believed to have a spirit, a woman made of snow and silence. They called her Yuki-onna, the snow woman. She was described as breathtakingly beautiful. Her skin was pale as fresh snow, her long black hair falling against a white kimono that seemed to vanish into the blizzard. She drifted across the snow without leaving footprints, her presence so silent it unsettled even the bravest travelers. Legends of Yuki-onna go back centuries, with early records appearing in the 14th and 15th centuries, and her stories spreading through Japan's snowbound regions. She was said to appear on stormy nights, approaching travelers lost in the cold. Sometimes she offered kindness, guiding them to safety. But more often, she lured them deeper into the storm, where her icy breath froze them in an instant. Her nature was unpredictable. Some tales painted her as the vengeful spirit of a woman who died in the snow, condemned to wander forever. Others showed her as a test of human weakness, appearing as a fragile maiden to tempt men before revealing her ghostly form. And in rare versions, she fell in love with humans, living quietly among them until her secret was revealed and she vanished back into the snow. It was said that when Yuki-onna attacked, she did not scream or roar. She simply exhaled, her breath colder than the mountain winds, draining the life from her victim. Witnesses described the terrifying calm, no footprints, no struggle, just a body left frozen where it stood. Number 2. Bakeneko. Cats have always lived close to us, sharing our homes, curling on our beds, watching with unblinking eyes. But in Japan's folklore, they were never just pets. They were watchers, and if a cat lived long enough, it could transform into a yokai called the Bakeneko. The signs of change were subtle at first. One strange belief said that cats were drawn to lamp oil. In the Edo period, lamps were fueled with fish oil, and people often saw their cats standing on hind legs, stretching up toward the flame, their faces glowing eerily in the light. Across Japan, regional tales warned families to be cautious. In Ibaraki and Nagano, cats kept for 12 years were believed to turn into Bakeneko. In Okinawa, it was 13 years. In Hiroshima, people said 7 years was enough, and such a cat would kill its owner. Because of these beliefs, many families decided in advance how long they would keep a cat, fearing what might come after. The powers of the Bakeneko were vast. It was said they could shapeshift into humans, speak in human voices, curse families, or even manipulate the dead. So, the next time you celebrate your pet cat's birthday, remember, it may be time to say goodbye to her before it's too late. Number 1. Nurarihyon. Last one in our series is not just a yokai, but the leader of them all, the mysterious figure known as Nurarihyon. He was not a beast, not a ghost, and not even particularly frightening to look at. Instead, he appeared as an old man with a gourd-shaped head, dressed in fine robes. Yet behind this ordinary appearance was one of the most unsettling spirits in Japanese folklore. Nurarihyon's power was not brute strength or terror. Instead, he slipped quietly into human homes. While the master of the house was away, Nurarihyon would walk in as if he belonged there, sit at the head of the household, drink tea, smoke a pipe, and act as though he were the true owner. And when the real master returned, they often felt powerless to question him, as if they had been hypnotized into accepting him. Because of this strange ability, Nurarihyon became a symbol of intrusion and control, a spirit who could turn hospitality into weakness. By the 20th century, especially in works like Mizuki Shigeru's Gegege no Kitaro, Nurarihyon was cemented as the general of yokai, the mastermind behind their hidden world. And with that, our countdown of Japan's most chilling mythical creatures comes to an end. But this is just one part of a much bigger world of legends. If you haven't already, go back and watch the other parts of this series and meet the rest of the spirits, demons, and monsters that still haunt the world.